I'm on your ass all the time. Problem solve, problem solve, problem solve. Figure it out. Figure it out. Because I don't want to do it. And if you can't do it, I'll give the truck and trailer to Aaron, and Aaron will figure it out.
And welcome back to another episode of When I Grow Up, where we are following the story of the legendary, beautiful Parker McGee, who dropped out of college in hopes of becoming a TSR Concrete Coatings owner. As you know, the largest residential concrete coating company on the planet, undisputed champion of the known universe and unknown universe. This episode is a very special episode. Many of you people may be wondering who is sitting next to me. You've heard his name. You've heard us talking to him in the background of the episodes. If you're a real one, you saw him in the episode the first time we went to visit Parker for a day in the life. You met him. Let's give a drum roll for him. Ready, guys? Sean Cap, the one and only. How you doing? Welcome to the show.
Doing good. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for being on.
Been here in the background, but I'm ready to get in.
Yeah, man. You've been doing some work in the background. Sean takes a lot of our photos that you guys see on social media, and we have another Sean actually right now.
We replace Sean with Sean.
Yeah. We replace Sean with Sean.
We tend to do that at this company. We have a lot of the people with the same names.
And they look similar.
This particular guy, he actually claims, I don't know if it's true, I think my brother, Michael Hawkins, would venture to disagree, but he says he's potentially the best running back in Lena Winslow history. I think my brother would say otherwise.
Undisputed champion.
Undisputed champion.
Yeah,
so for those of you wondering who we're talking about, this is Sean Ormisted. Ormiston. I'm so sorry. It's a hard name to pronounce, but it's great. So I'm going to toss the episode over to Parker. Parker's actually going to be driving the bus today. He got his CDL. He's ready to go, ready to take us where we need to get. So Parker, what's going on in this episode? Why do we have Sean on today?
So we've been fixing to have Sean on the episode. Jeff, Joey have been digging or fighting tooth and nail to get him on here. I've been like, nah, he's not ready. We were waiting for him to fuck up so we could actually, have a good quality episode.
Thank God he finally did that.
Fortunately, he
took a long time.
He fucked up, so he's here. We're ready to bash him live on scene. Right?
Oh no!
No, it's good to have him on. It's good to I liked having one of my crew leads on as well, or, one of my bosses per se, because you can kind of see it from a different perspective.
That was Wink, right? We had Wink on second episode.
Yeah, and it's always, you're thinking that you're doing everything right. Usually, otherwise you would obviously be fixing that, hopefully.
Yep.
So it's good to just hear it from a different perspective, one of someone above you. So I think it's good to have him on and, talk about the things that we need to work on. So
what are some of the things, so if you guys haven't stayed true to the When I Grow Up podcast, which I know some of you haven't, but for those of you that have, and those of you that haven't, go watch all the episodes and then come back to this one. But for those of you that know, episode 2, I believe, we featured Wink Perello, who was Parker's crew lead. And Parker knew very little, but he was learning. And now Parker is not only has he been a crew lead, but he's been a crew lead, and now he's leading crew leads. And so this is his first crew lead that he's actually in charge of. Is that correct?
Yep.
So what have you enjoyed about having, I know you and Sean go back, you got a history in a good way. And what have
boyfriends, I think.
Easy.
What have you enjoyed? Well, you guys do live together.
Yep.
So, I'm sorry.
Yeah, let's just...
Like I said.
I said that like in the wrong time.
Yep, exactly.
So you guys live together, you're friends, and you work together, and you're his boss. There's no way around it.
Yep.
He reports to you. What are some really positive things that you've really enjoyed about Sean working for you on your crews and living with you up there in Madison?
I would say right away, we've already kind of talked about it. I told Jeff, he's got such a good attention to detail that's awesome. That's what you need on, a crew, or to be a crew lead. You're watching over everything. You can see the fine details, make sure they're right. And that's, the biggest thing customers look for, right? And he's really quick at absorbing his surroundings, which is sometimes bad, but at the same time would sometimes good if you place yourself around the right people. Luckily,
What is that? Absorbing your surroundings.
So I always tell you guys I like hanging out with you and Jeff because I learn the knowledge that I probably wouldn't if I was hanging out with my 18-year-old friends, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I think Cap, placing himself around someone like we just hired Aaron. He's super smart dude, super handy. He can teach Cap a lot. I've been on him a lot about, have him teach you this, have him teach you that, because I think that's important to obviously know. He's not gonna, you're not always gonna have that knowledge around you. So It's important to, make sure you learn it while you
Glean
can.
from it. Yep, that's good.
Exactly.
Awesome. Sean, how have you enjoyed working for TSR as a whole? You started at the Lena office.
Yep.
And
October 18th.
October 18th. Wow. Wow.
I'll never forget the day.
Yeah. Best day of my life.
I got called up to the big leagues. My mom was real happy. I moved out of her house.
Anyway, yeah. So you've been working for TSR since October 18th, 2020 at 11:59 p.m. Right before you're supposed to start, which is great. And have you enjoyed everything you've been learning so far? What is your favorite part of working for TSR since October 18th?
I don't know. I just kind of like the whole environment. We every day, working with new people, sometimes every day, not in Madison anymore, but but always being around new people, learning stuff from the legends, the GOATs.
Yeah.
But no, I just like getting in there, seeing the floor and seeing the progress on the steps and everything that it takes to make that floor look the way it does.
Yeah.
And then at the end,
How have you kind of enjoyed the different steps? And obviously you were a second to a crew lead, different or steps like that.
Kind of fast actually too, right?
Jeff always kind of mentioned too that some people are okay with being seconds or floaters, and then some people want the truck and trailer. So it's it's different. It's all preference as well.
Yeah, no, being a second, you're definitely more just kind of chill back, like relax. But as soon as you become a crew lead, like you have to worry about so much stuff. Your trailer, your truck, everything, materials. It's sometimes you're just running around with your head cut off.
Chilled back as a second? Is that what you're supposed to be doing? Just chilling?
Well, the responsibility, most of the responsibility of like you said, managing the truck and the trailer, and there's a lot of materials that go into making sure that, these rigs are ready to go for the next day. And if you don't have a strong crew leader and then you guys get to the job site and you don't have enough top coat or you don't have enough chip or whatever, that's not the second's fault. His job is to show up and help the guy in front of him. So
And if I were a second too on a crew lead that wasn't, stocking your truck and trailer, I would be pissed as well.
Yeah.
So it shouldn't be the seconds, command.
Then you have to stay there longer if you have to go back to the warehouse and get more stuff.
Well, ultimately what will happen is that the seconds and thirds will just complain enough that the guy won't have his own truck anymore.
Yep.
Correct.
So, Sean, it's kind of been a fast progression. Do you feel like it's been too fast? Do you feel like there's situations that you're really uncomfortable in? And that's okay. Mm-hmm. It's okay to be uncomfortable.
Dun, dun, dun.
But do you feel like there are some situations that as a second, you were showing up to help your leader lay the floor. They're directing you. They're ultimately responsible at the end of the day, talking to the customers, et cetera, loading the trailers. Are there parts of being a crew lead that are a bit intimidating, at least in the beginning?
Yes, talking to customers in the morning, you always got to have a smile on your face, knowing about your product, being confident.
Have we ran into a few troubles with that?
Yes, I've been working on it, but
be specific.
Yeah, what kind of troubles have we run into? It's okay. It's okay.
Not really fully being confident about our product, telling the people what it does and what it can't do, what it can do.
And I don't think that comes from, when he says that, I don't think anyone listening that's a customer too should worry about, the product from that standpoint. It's more so, Sean just has always had, I always tell him, he's never really had to lead anyone. And now it's kind of, it's being confident in your speaking. People can always tell when you're not a good speaker, right? If you're kind of, they're gonna call your bullshit right away, and they can hear that on your voice. And that's kind of more so what the customer's hearing, rather than Sean not knowing what the product was. It was more so just him not confidently relaying that message to the customer.
So you're basically telling me that Sean has absolutely no hope to ever succeed in anything because he's struggling right now talking to people.
110%. Yep, absolutely.
And this has been another episode. No, I'm just kidding. But can he improve this? Is this something that's learned, or is this something that you're born with?
Well, I think there's two things that take place there. So, the issue that Parker just said about, we've had this talk. There's two things that can happen, right? So the first thing is that the customer doesn't feel confident in what you're saying and thinks you're full of shit, which is what Parker said. And then the second thing that can happen is that if the customer doesn't feel like you're, not that you're not knowledgeable, but, Sean tends to speak in a weak way. Okay. Especially if he's unsure. Right. Mm-hmm. So rather than just, speaking off the cuff or, like saying, hey, I don't actually know the answer to that question. I can call Parker and I'll get back to you. What he tends to do is he tries to please them by just telling them what they want to hear. And that can build an expectation that he can never meet.
Mm-hmm. Over-promising, under-delivering.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's happened a few times where he's actually did it on accident. Right. And he's like, and the customers will tend to, push some of these crew leaders into a corner where they're like, yeah, can you, the concrete like dips over here, well, we can't do anything with that. Right. And then, but what does a guy like Sean do? Because he wants to make people happy. He wants to do a good job. He'll be like, yeah, I'll try. He can't fix that. Mm-hmm. But he's just going to tell him that he can try. He didn't say that he could. He didn't say that he couldn't. He just said that he would try. But what did the customer hear?
Yes, you're going to do it.
The customer heard, yes, you can. So
is the intention is at the base level good because he wants to help the customer.
Yeah.
Is that something how many people do you manage?
We kind of had the same problem with
hundreds?
Nate as well.
Or you've managed hundreds of people in your lifetime, right?
I talk to very few people. So
anyway, you've seen a lot of people grow.
I have, but I mean, yeah. But from they generally start with me, right?
Yep.
On some degree or level. But me personally, I mean, I don't think that anybody should be managing more than 7 to 10 people.
Of the people you've managed, I suppose. That's good. That's good feedback, though. You take that to heart, write that down as you're trying to grow your company. I think we're talking to Jared Ludeking right now. But anyway, as you've worked with people, have you seen people be able to build this skill that Sean maybe is a little bit weak in right now?
Yeah, actually, we were talking with Tuna earlier today, where he's like, man, I was actually getting my haircut in the back, and Tuna's girlfriend, by the way, great haircut.
Yeah.
And he's like, I really feel, and he's been a team leader now, I think for like 2 years probably, and he goes, I finally feel like I'm at a point where when I'm talking to customers, he's like, it's fun. Right.
Cool.
Because I think that there's like some nervous, like there can be some jitters, and because these guys are production techs. They're not, they didn't sign up to be speakers. They didn't sign up to be salespeople. They didn't sign up to, they want to get there and they want to install the floor and they don't want to talk to anybody. Right. But
that's why they signed up.
Yeah. But as a team leader, that, you do have to be able to have those types of conversations, and sometimes tough conversations with customers who are trying to get you to do something that you just absolutely know that you can't do.
Mm-hmm. Is that encouraging for you to hear that it's a skill that can be strengthened? Like you can go put in some reps every day that you're talking to customers and get better and better each time and more confident in your answers?
Yes, definitely. And I feel like I've been improving a little bit here and there.
That's good.
He's in a unique situation too because he is only 20. My parents I felt like I was a better, more advanced talker at a young age because my parents, we'd always walk into a restaurant and my dad would say, hey, go get us a table. So now I kind of do the same thing. We go out to eat and I'm like, Cap, go get us a table. And it kind of puts you just in a different position than he's never been in before.
Yeah.
Yep, exactly.
That's awesome.
So maybe, another takeaway, if you're out, with your friends, be that guy to go up, communicate, build your communication skills. And that's what we talk about, being personable with people.
So that's a really good takeaway. I'm going to actually circle back to that really quick. So you can practice leading and talking just in your daily life and just get more comfortable about it. It's every interaction you have is what you're saying.
I've literally set timers on my phone with random people I've walked up and been like, I'm going to see how long I can hold this conversation for. slip it in my
Really?
pocket, and then it's just something. It's it's different ways you can work on it without and it's not something you're sitting down. You don't gotta crunch numbers or read a book. It's fun too, right? You can talk about anything you want. It's whatever or however you want to make it.
That's awesome. Is that encouraging to hear?
Yes, definitely.
That's awesome.
Well, think about it in school, right? So when you're in high school or college or whatever, like you have to do like a speech class. I think it's actually a requirement.
It is.
And-
Sadly.
Yeah, sadly, right? And everybody dreads it, I think, for the
Yes.
most part. It's like 3 to 5 minute speech, I want to say, somewhere in there. And it seems like, truthfully, it's like the longest, like 3 to 5 minutes of your entire life.
You're just
is
sweating bullets.
at the
and,
time,
like,
right? And you would, like, at the time that you had to do that at that point, and I've gone to multiple events and I've had to speak on stage and in front of large crowds and at our Christmas parties. And, I'm generally the guy that does a lot of talking. But probably like the one that, like you would think that I would not be terrified to go on stage, right?
right.
Yeah.
And generally I'm not. But the one that probably scared me the most, I was cool right up until I was walking up the stage and I saw how bright the lights were. If you've ever been on a real stage
Yeah,
for
they're
a speaking
bright.
engagement, I was at the top 500 live in Vegas, and there's, I don't know, a couple thousand people, or maybe it was like 1,000 or 2,000 people in the crowd. It was a lot, right? And I get on stage and I'm like, I can't see them.
Yeah, you can't see facial reactions.
I can't see facial reactions. All I can see is this light, right? And I'm like, holy crap. Like, you just feel blinded. You're talking to yourself. So, you got to make sure that conversation that you're having with that homeowner is good.
Yeah. So, like, in situations, is there a way to prepare for stuff like that? Because you could be prepared to go up to talk to a homeowner and whose name is Danny. And you're like, oh, I know Danny. Danny's a cool guy. He probably has a motorcycle. He's got a beard. And then you walk up and it's this lady who's like super shy and super quiet. And you were prepared for the wrong thing and you're blinded by the light. Is there a way to prepare for scenarios that you can't be prepared for?
Well, you should have a system, right? So, I always talk about replicatable, duplicatable. So when we get to somebody's house, our seconds and our thirds that are with us, what should they be doing as soon as we get there?
Unloading the trailer.
Unloading the trailer, getting ready to go, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You have a copy of the contract probably pulled up on your phone or iPad,
Yep.
right? And you're going to walk up there and you're going to do the same thing every time. Yeah, and verify we're at the right house first because we don't want to start grinding somebody. Hey, we're at the right house. You're Shirley Temple. Okay, great. I just want to check a few things with you. We're going to be doing this project. We're going to do it in this color. Can you come to the trailer? I just want to verify this is the color that you picked. If you get in, by the way, a few things about this project. I'm going to walk you around it quick. We're going to tell you exactly what we're going to do, and then we're going to get started. Fair enough?
Cool. Yeah.
And if you do that every single time the same way, which I'm sure is what Parker was doing.
You're always prepared.
Mm-hmm.
Nice. So Parker, do you have any hiccups, anything that you've been running into as maybe issues? Because Cap being a crew lead means you have a new position, which is leading a crew lead. Have you had any struggles personally on your end managing a crew lead, or on Sean's end, maybe with that dynamic of being friends, of maybe a lack of respect? I don't know. Do you have anything to comment on that?
Yeah, I would say, a few things right out of the gate. Me and Sean have already had the discussion. We were actually driving back after a podcast, and I was kind of like, hey, if you're going to work for me, that's fine. That's awesome. Like, I want you to have a good job, which I think, getting paid $20 an hour at 10 hours a day as a 20-year-old is pretty good money.
Yeah.
I said, you got to understand that, I'm your boss first and then friend second. So if something, pisses me off, I'm not going to not say it because I'm, going to risk losing our friendship. And if that, gets in the way, let's dish the you working for me and let's be friends. And that's, I took that from day one of Jeff, right when I said, hey,
Yep.
I think Sean should, come on and work. So that's kind of stuck with me. Secondly, I would ask Sean, what is your goal within TSR? We always talk about, I say when we get down to Texas,
That's a good question.
Do you want to be the head guy of production, or would you rather just be another crew lead?
I'd rather be like the head guy, either like training everyone down there or just overseeing everyone.
So, and that's, that's awesome to hear because I want you to also do that. But I would say, at the same time, I was actually talking to Joey before the show. We kind of looked up this quote, or I heard about this quote, and he was like, oh, yeah, that's awesome. I heard it in the podcast.
This is good. Yeah.
It's
Pay
called-
attention. Get your ears ready.
It's called rent, axiom. It's, they talk about success being owned, or success is never owned. It's rented, and rent is due every day. And put that in terms of crew lead, it's you perform every day, because if those keys are slipping out of your hand, I know damn well someone's going to catch them when they drop. There's another crew lead next up. We always talk about Aaron. I can 110% say that if those keys ever slip through your hands,
He's
Aaron
ready
will
there.
catch those and run. And that, when we talk about that, that's more so the fact of how long did it take from the point when Jeff said sign up for the ramp card to the time you actually signed up for the ramp card.
What's a ramp card?
So it's just it's a credit card that he needed to be a crew lead to get gas and different stuff like that.
So it's a task that was assigned to Sean by Jeff that Parker was, I guess, in charge of overseeing that it happened.
I don't really care if Sean has a ramp card or not, because eventually he'd have to pay for gas on his own. So.
Yeah. But anyway, it was a task that was assigned to Sean.
Yep.
What was the deadline?
So I think it took him, 2 to a month, 2 weeks to a month. It was sometime in there. And, granted, I'm a guy that's get it done now, knock it out of the way, check it off my list. Obviously, Sean's working towards that. He's never really had to, check things off his list. He's been a second. He's just kind of been able to coast. But when you say you want to be head of production, he says, get that ramp card done. That needs to be done now. And if it's not in your personal email, I said, hey, Sean, let me see your phone. We looked it up. And then we talk about being, in the TSR email, and you say, well, I didn't know it was going to be in there. And then I would say back, it's for TSR. Why the fuck would it not be in there? Right? So it's all, and I'm on your ass all the time. Problem solve. Figure it out. Because I don't want to do it. And if you can't do it, I'll give the truck and trailer to Aaron, and Aaron will figure it out. It's not doing the bare minimum anymore.
Joey, you feel like you're on the hot seat, or?
Yeah, I'm like, why do I feel offended? I don't know.
When you're the crew lead, it's not, like I said, it's not the bare minimum anymore. You need to, what are you doing to provide more value than Aaron sitting next to you, other than driving the truck and trailer? That's what you need to figure out, and that's what you need to do. The last thing I would say is, how long did I ask to fix the trailer? A long time. We didn't have a bolt. I got you a bolt, and then you guys cut off the other bolt instead of just wait until you got back to the shop, taking the air socket, pulling the bolt off, and fixing the trailer. We pay you till 6, take an extra 10 minutes when you get home at 2, and knock out the trailer cord. Because then when I have to go do it, when I didn't break it, that's what pisses me off.
You sound like a 40-year-old man, Parker. What happened?
I got Steve McGee's.
He turned straight. I was gonna say,
I got Steve McGee's jeans. Is what happened.
You're in there somewhere.
You were so young and soft like last year at this time, and wow.
That's because I was getting bitched around then. So now I have to pass it on, and then hopefully Sean can pass it on as well.
hopefully.
So let's break some of that down.
Yes.
So
that was a long rant too.
It was, yeah. So the first thing is the ramp card, right? Like I said, I don't really care if you didn't do it. I mean, well, you're probably using Parker's card.
Yes, correct.
Okay, so that's why Parker cares, because Parker probably wants his card back. Like I said, eventually you're just going to have to pay for gas on your own, rather than the company paying for it. But the ramp card is important because that's how we log all of our expenses, and they just we've made it like completely easy now. They slide the card for gas, they take a picture of it, they send it to receipts at Ramp. Ramp automatically loads it into QuickBooks. Like it makes life completely easy for me, right? And if you're going to be head of production in Texas, and you have 4 or 5 trucks and trailers out there, how if somebody does like what you did with a ramp card, like how are you going to handle it?
I'm definitely going to just say it right off the bat. Like, you need to get this done, like Parker's been doing. And, it did take me a while. And every day when he's told me, like, I say, okay, I'll do it. But then I never just really got to it. And then he sat me down and just.
Were you like really busy?
No, I wasn't. I just kept forgetting.
And it too, maybe, I'll put, a little bit on me, about 2%. I'll put the other 98% on you.
Yeah.
Literally,
it's very gracious
Sean,
of you.
I'm literally running around fucking so many things doing a day that I just literally make a to-do list in my notes. And I say, ramp card, Sean, do this, blah, do this, blah. And then when it's done,
He was kind of irritating me about it, because he's like, did you send Sean his email for his ramp card? I'm like, dude, ask me one more again. Like, I can see it says pending.
That's because I want to check that bitch off my list.
So there was the ramp card thing, and then there's like fixing the trailer. You know, you guys are going to have to be more self-sufficient, right? You know, Tyler and Lasco and, you know, all the things that we have here, like you guys, when you get to Madison or Texas or whatever, you're going to have to fix some of these things yourself. You're going to have to problem solve and troubleshoot some of these issues. And, you know, if you want to be in charge, you want to be head of production, you know, for wherever the next location is that Parker goes to, which I think he said was Texas, you need to start thinking about, well, what does that mean? Like, what does that look like?
Interesting.
What does that mean to you?
Just
You don't even fucking know.
being jack of all trades in every situation. Like,
Okay. So what do you think Lasco's day looks like?
I actually don't know. I don't
You don't know? Okay.
I know he does repairs and
So
shop work.
he's fixing vacuums, right? So he's troubleshooting vacuums when they break. He doesn't just bring them back here.
I don't bring mine back. I fix them.
He doesn't just
I
bring
fix
them back here. You know, he's checking solenoids. He's checking, you know, the filters. He's checking all these things. You know, if a trailer door breaks, you know, he fixes that, or at least figures out what we need to fix it. You know, if there's you know, they're doing inventory. They're making sure they have everything that they need. They do services and they do repairs. They do all kinds of things that aren't necessarily affiliated with, you know, selling a job or installing a job or marketing for a job, but it's all things that we need to continue pushing the whole machine forward. It's essential. So
So they're like they're kind of before a problem occurs, they're making sure that they're, you know, checking on all the equipment, et cetera, so that there aren't hiccups during major times so that the machine can run when it's supposed to run. And they're kind of the after hours crew that's making sure the machine can run when it needs to run.
yeah, I mean,
proactive.
Proactive.
It's definitely a proactive team. You know that, you know, they pull a grinder out of service and, you know, change oil on it and, you know, maintain, you know, clean it all up, power wash it, get it ready, give the guy another one, then they bring it back, and then he gives him back his old grinder back. I mean, it's things like that. Like, are you changing the oil on your generator? Are you changing the oil on your grinder?
Yeah.
And think about
The
how
answer is no. I saw it in your face.
I changed it. But I would say too, you know, think about if you set that example for everyone as well, how much easier is that going to make when someone's not saying, "Hey, can you fix my trailer door?" They're going to fix it on their own. "Hey, can you splice this cord?" No, take 5 minutes, do it yourself. Teach them how to do all this stuff, or learn from Aaron now, then teach all your employees how to do it. So then you don't have to do it. You can, you know, spend your time where it's more valuable.
So proactivity, being proactive, is that something you maybe feel like you're lacking on a little bit because you were a second for so long, like that you didn't have to think about that?
Yeah, I would say so. But then also it's not an excuse, but I just really haven't had a leader role and just like being on top of stuff. I'm just always the one to follow. But like, that's not an excuse. I was just
right.
But no,
I was just trying to make an excuse, but
no.
Do you actually want to be a leader?
Yes, I do.
Why?
It's just gonna take time. But
Why do you want to be a leader? Because some people don't want to be leaders.
easy, Joey. He's gonna leave this podcast going, I don't know if I want to do this anymore.
No.
Which is, like you said, it's totally fine. If you
That's
don't
what I'm
want to be a
asking.
leader, that's fine.
I just
Someone
wanna know-
else,
yeah.
there's other people out there that do want to be leaders. So it's not something that you feel like, you know, you don't have to feel like you have to, but at the same time, if you want to, that's, you know, 100% achievable.
Yeah, you can 100% achieve it. I'm not belittling you at all. I want to know, like, do you want to be a leader? And then why do you want to be a leader? Because sometimes the bottom line why people want to be leaders is because they think, well, the leaders get paid the best. Or the leaders don't have a boss.
E-mark, so
You know?
we're good.
The leaders don't have a boss. I could be my own boss. I could write my own paycheck, et cetera, et cetera. And sometimes people have it misconstrued that, oh yeah, wait, I have to do more than everyone else proactively all the time, 24/7.
Wait, you mean the money just doesn't come? It just doesn't fall out of the sky, Joey?
Not from my experience yet, but maybe you guys have some better insight than me. I don't know. But.
We're waiting.
You know, I want to definitely work my way to being a leader. Obviously, I don't feel like I'm leader material now, but like you said, it can be achieved. But yeah, I want to be the person that, you know, hey, how do I do this? How do I do this? Because I don't know. I like just kind of teaching a little bit. Like, I don't know. It's just weird, but
You like helping people kind of achieve their potential?
yes, I like seeing them make their goals and achieve them.
And you want to be in that position to be able to help them do that.
Yeah.
That's a good trait. I think that's a very good leadership trait.
Absolutely.
Cool. That's a good answer. I like that. Write that down. Help other people achieve their goals, and they will help you achieve your goals. Is that, Jeff, is that right?
Oh my.
It's true. I mean, whenever I was just a sales guy a long time ago for Blockbuster, and no, for Erie, when I was doing metal roofing long time ago, one of the things that I realized is that I couldn't, if my wheels on my car weren't turning, then I wasn't making any money. It wasn't until I taught other people how to do what I do that I could make money. I could take a day off, and we the team would still make money, and the company would still be profitable. And I think that's, it's a realization that Sean needs to have, but he needs to do it with more confidence. Because I can tell you right now, if I was on your team, I would run you straight the fuck over. And there's gonna be people on, Caleb or Bear, whatever you guys call them.
Luckily, you haven't experienced that yet.
Yeah. You don't have somebody like me standing behind you, kicking you in the back of the head to get out of my way, because I would run you over. But you're going to get down to Texas, and you're going to go wherever it is that Parker's going, or maybe even in Madison, you still have 2 months. I mean, we're growing that market so fast. So what they're going to experience here, some painful growth in the next month and a half, because we're forcing them to go from 1 truck and trailer to 3.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Yeah. How do you feel about that, Parker?
I was actually just
have to manage
planning
that.
on to hire anyone and everyone, then just kind of hand it over to Jeff. So it sounds pretty good to me.
Well, thank you. No, but it's the hardest move is always from 1 truck and trailer to 2, and I'm saying no. We are in a position based on our current jobs that we have sold. Like, you have to go from 1 to 3.
Wow.
And now we've taken steps to take care of that. I mean, obviously he's in sales now. They have Kier, they have Aaron. We actually have a transfer. So one of the great things about our company is that maybe where you start isn't where you finish, right? So somebody's transferring. Ryan's actually transferring from Bloomington up here to run the 2nd trailer, and then obviously the next choice would be Aaron to run the 3rd trailer. So we feel very confident, and then they're going to hire 2 more guys and get them into training. But it's fast. It's very fast. So if you like hiring and recruiting and training guys,
now's the time.
No better time than now.
The one
It's gonna be a great summer for you.
The one really great thing about Cap too is he always comes back and tells me these stories. He tells the other crew members about me. And I'm like, do a good job. Make me sound like an asshole so they just don't fuck up. And he came back the one day, and he's like, yeah, I was telling him about the time that someone just wrapped up your cord wrong and you just whipped it out of the trailer in the gravel and said, wind it up again. I'm like, attaboy, Cap. Attaboy.
And then you tied them up with the cord.
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding.
Make me seem like a badass.
We all know I'm not. Please help. So
Leadership's tough.
Yes.
I mean, people aren't always going to agree with your decisions, right? So that's, and generally it's the people beneath you, not the people that are above you. I mean, I know that, in the past, I'll use Josh, who we had on the podcast down in Bloomington, and he's like, I get it. I understand why you are the way you are. And he's like, it's because you have to make decisions every single day that the average 8 to 4, 8 to 5 guy, or the average 2nd or 3rd or salesperson doesn't have to make. He's like, you're making a decision based on the greater good, what's best interest of the company, best interest of the customer, then best interest of us, right? Mm-hmm. So that's going to be the hard part, is every day that you go out is in the back of your head. And I always thought this when I was a sales rep, is when I go out, is what's the best interest for our organization?
Yeah.
Because if our organization doesn't grow and thrive, then I don't have a job anymore.
Mm-hmm. And a lot of people don't have jobs anymore.
Yeah. Well, right now it's about 100 and some.
Yeah. I think I've heard it said that if everyone is happy with the decisions that the leader is making, you're probably not making any progress. Would that be true?
I don't know. You follow a lot of people on social media, and there's just like one guy that always stands out to me. It's the guy from Gravity Payments. I don't know if you know.
I don't know.
But he kind of pisses me off. So I don't really even remember his name because I didn't care to. But he was like talking about how he was like making $1 million, and then he took his salary down to like $1, and then made everybody in his employment makes like 70 grand, and how everything is so much better at his company than everywhere else. And I'm like, I mean, I get it, right? Like I feel like we pay a living wage. To every single person here, and but is every position worth $70,000 a year? I mean,
And when do they ask for 75?
Yeah.
Well,
true.
It's really not even that, right? I'm like, what if I think I'm worth 100 and now I have to make 70 because everybody here makes 70, right?
It's kind of like communism a little bit.
Well, and like you watch his posts and stuff, and I'm like, and he kind of like rags on other businesses, and I'm like, Gravity Payments guy, you suck.
We don't want your sponsorship. Just keep it.
Yeah, I would never use them. Like, Square Up. That's what we do.
Square Up. Let's go.
We use Square, sponsored by Square.
This has been a really impactful and insightful episode on leadership and what it takes to become a leader. And if you're 20 years old and you've never been a leader before, you can become a leader. It also kind of is making, hopefully, people think like, do I want to be a leader? You don't have to be a leader. There's plenty of people who want to be a second and want to be a support, and it's absolutely okay. And some people want to be leaders for the wrong reasons. So that is something I would challenge all of you listening to the show right now. Within the sound of my voice, please consider this concept before you just say, I want to be a leader, and then you go out and maybe screw up a bunch of people's life because maybe you didn't actually want to be a leader. Are there any other takeaways you guys have? And also, if you don't think you can be a leader, maybe do a little introspective thinking and really challenge yourself to just practice some of these things like Parker was saying. Set a timer on your phone, go into a restaurant, go into a random place and just start talking to people and realize really what is leadership. Leadership is essentially just pioneering, going before somebody else, not being a boss and pushing people, but going ahead and bringing people along with you and helping make their lives better as well. Do you have anything to add to that, Jeff, at all?
Well, I think, like you said, like it's okay not to be in the leadership role. For me, unfortunately, like my personality just, as much as I try to stay in the background, I just can't help it.
Leaders emerge.
Well, I just,
yeah.
We've been in the meeting like at Home Forever Baths, and sometimes I feel like I'm taking over, right? So I got to like, throttle it back.
Yep.
And give Alex back the reins, and but we've had like great employees here that have just that were next up, right? That were next on the list, by seniority or whatever. And we don't really follow seniority so much, but we always like, if we think that person's ready to take a leadership role, we always offer that to them. And we've had multiple people say, yo, I'm not comfortable, with running my own truck and trailer. I've had a lot of people actually say that,
and they're good. Like they still want to work for TSR. They just
just want to do the whole support thing and be a second or be a third, and because they know the responsibility that's going to come. It's not high. We don't hide it.
Mm-hmm. You're not tricking people.
Yeah, no. For more money, for the ability to take your truck and trailer home in the lean office and all that. Like every other office, we let them. They have to take their stuff back to the shop.
Okay.
At this office, we allow them to take it home, so the responsibility is exponentially more. Right? Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of that going on, and I think that it says a lot about the character of the individuals that said, "I'm not ready." I would just much rather prefer that than, like you said, throw somebody out there and they go, "Holy shit, this is one, I didn't want it, and now I really don't want it."
Now you're upset, they're upset, customers are upset.
But we've also had, and I'll use Devin as an example. So, I think I said last year on a couple of, if I had to take two people to come with me if I was going to be a team leader, it would have been Meech and Devin. And they're both running their own vans. I think they're both in vans right now. And at one point, Devin had actually said, like, we did an end of year review, and he's like, I don't want to do it. And I was like really surprised because I was like, man, I thought, but then he changed his mind, right? So it was very introspective for me to go, here's a guy that I thought for sure was going to be ready. And some guy talked to him, he's like, not ready. And then a few months later, 4 or 5 months later, I think it was, he was like, hey, I think, he goes, I don't feel like I think backing up the trailer kind of gets these guys sometimes.
Yeah.
Right?
Backing up the trailer. You got it? Caps got it.
Threading
That's because he was
needles.
watching the best.
Yeah. So, but he was like, now I'm ready. I'm ready. And I'm like, you know what? It's cool that we have guys that have enough foresight and enough confidence to say, hey, I don't think I could do it. So
it's cool that you've built an organization that gives people that level of comfort to be able to say no, even if you think they're ready. You're not like forcing them into it.
It's only one person we ever forced.
Who's
it was
that?
Tobes.
Oh. Where's Tobes now?
If you're watching Tobes, he was hiding in Sean Dunn's shadow for like 2 years. And I was like, Tobes, I will fire you if you don't take this truck. But he took it. Unfortunately, Tobes isn't with us anymore. And
wait.
Yeah, he's not.
What
Well,
do you mean?
He just had some lower back problems.
Oh, so he's still alive.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
No,
the way you said it.
He's not dead. No.
Yeah. Okay.
You're dead to me.
Continue.
No, so he actually had lower back problems before, and he kind of, I think he thought like maybe getting out and doing a little more physical work would help that. I don't think that actually worked out that way. But he stuck it out, and you know what? Probably, I think Tobes probably could go down as the greatest second of all time.
Greatest back roller of all time.
Greatest back roller of all time. But he's actually still in town. He's up at Mulligan's.
Much love, Tobes.
Go get him a Busch Light from him. And but no, he just was like, no. He's like, I don't want it. And I go, we had that conversation like, no, I don't want it, like 4 times. And I'm like, yeah, you do want it.
Like, trust me, you want it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then he did become a team leader, and he was like, "Holy shit, this is a lot of work." And he did it for a while. He did it for a long time, like a full season, I think. Yeah. And then unfortunately, he's like, my body just can't. Like my back's tore up, so I can't do it. So. Well,
that's super insightful. Like, you don't have to. You can. Maybe it's something you should try at least once in your life. I don't know if that's good advice or not. Parker, do you have any? Actually, Sean, do you have any closing thoughts? We'll go with you. We'll end with Parker. Any closing thoughts, advice, anything you've taken away from the episode that you feel like anyone could take away from the episode?
If your boss tells you to get something done, get it done. Don't let him sit there and stress out about it. Just get it done. And that's all I got to say.
Wow. Okay. He's learned. And maybe even proactively do things that your boss didn't ask you to do that you notice yourself. And start looking for things that your boss might be looking for, and then they're not asking you anything. Then you ask them if there's anything more you can do for them.
Then you're in the money spot.
Then you're getting Blockbuster CEO merch, and you're at the top.
You could.
Yeah.
They don't. The Blockbuster currently doesn't have a CEO, so I figured I would step in.
Yeah. Self-administered CEO. Yeah, Parker. Anything to give to the viewers?
I would just say 2 quick things. One. Like we talked about, if you're, going to be a second or, whatever job you're in, just, be the best at it you can be. As long, if you're a janitor, make sure the halls are as clean as possible. If you're doing siding, make sure that siding is as straight as possible, et cetera.
Yep.
Right. Just be the best at whatever you're doing. And the last thing is kind of off cue, but I saw it the other day and thought it was kind of fitting because I'm like a big result guy. Like I want my location now. I want to be 5 trucks and trailers now. But I'm like, do I want that, or is the process like what's the good part? Like I'm watching, I'm gonna go back when all these episodes are done and watch the first episode, and I'm gonna be like, holy shit!
I know.
Look at where we were from.
I know, it's crazy.
So I would just say enjoy the process. The result's awesome, but enjoy the process.
Yeah, enjoy the process because you're 20 fucking years old. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, true.
Like, I mean, you're 20. You can go to a market, Dallas, Austin, wherever it's at, Florida, doesn't matter, and you can build from. We're showing you how to take it from 0 to 5 in a year, right?
Yeah.
I mean, look at Arizona. Arizona's already at 2. And Arizona's been tough, by the way. That hasn't been easy. And we're already at 2, and I think that we'll be at probably 3, potentially 4 by the end of the year. So you can see, even in the market that you're currently in, you're going to go from 1 to 3. And then I think at 3, you're going to go, oh boy, this is a lot. There's a lot of logistics that need to take place, to make this thing run, appropriaply.
Absolutely. So. Yeah, that's great. That's great wisdom, great knowledge from a 20-year-old, 35-year-old.
Great.
That's still ridiculously young for all of you watching. Like, 35, you could live to 120, Jeff. You have no idea. You could live all the way up to 120 years old.
I'll tell you what. I don't know if I want to.
If he lives to 120, Dogecoin will hit $30 million.
I do currently hold 817 Dogecoins.
Wow, that's insane.
To the moon.
So, listeners, thank you so much for sticking with us so far. Sean, thank you so much for being on the show, being a real one. You've watched every episode, most of them in person, before they've even been aired. We really appreciate having you on the show. These guys have said a lot of really good things about you. I know you kind of thought maybe we're going to just bring you on, roast you, send you home, but that's generally not what I've found in TSR. TSR is a great company that really puts a lot into their workers and their employees and the people that work with them. They want to see people thrive and succeed, and that is dripping down into the company culture. Hopefully you guys watching this are realizing that and realizing that you can have that same impact on other people. Rent axiom. Success is never owned, it's rented, and the rent is due every single day. With that, this has been another episode of When I Grow Up. You guys ready? We will see you all
on the next episode.